Most of us think creation means making stuff. We imagine God shaping dirt, forming stars, building planets out of raw material. But what if the Bible's first readers saw creation very differently, including how they understood what it means to exist? Let's start with how we think. If I say a chair exists, you probably picture its material, like wood, metal, or plastic. You can touch it, sit on it, see it. That's what makes it real. Philosophers call this a material ontology, the belief that something exists because of its physical properties. But what about a business? Does a business exist only because it has a building? Not really. A business exists when it's doing business. Like when a restaurant serves its first customer, that's when it's real. That's what you call a functional ontology, when existence is tied to something's role and purpose. And guess what? That's exactly how the ancient world thought, the world of the Bible. They didn't think in material terms the way we do. To them, something existed when it had a function in an ordered system. The sun didn't just exist because it was a giant ball of fire in the sky. It existed because it gave light and marked seasons and served human life. A temple didn't exist just because the structure was complete and the last stone had been laid. It existed only after it had been dedicated and was operating. You see, for the ancients, creation wasn't about producing raw material. It was about assigning roles and giving order and setting things in motion. Think about a computer. Once the parts are built and assembled together, do you have a computer yet? Not really, because you got to install the software. Then you got to plug it in so it has electricity. But then someone also has to sit down and actually use the computer. At what point does the computer actually exist? Well, from a functional point of view, when it's serving its purpose. That's how the ancients thought about the world. The world wasn't created when matter appeared. It was created when everything was given its proper function. Professor Burdett, how can you be so sure? Sounds very convenient to me. Well, young sophomore me, when we look at ancient Israel's neighbors and their texts, Egyptian texts, Babylonian texts, Sumerian texts, all that primary source reading you skipped because it wasn't the Bible. We see the same theme in all of it. They rarely talk about making stuff because they're more interested in talking about how the gods assign functions, separating waters, marking day and night, naming things, setting up seasons. Even the famous Babylonian creation story, Enuma Elish, talks about how Marduk brings order after defeating the rival gods. And then he goes on to organize time, weather, agriculture. You see, creation for them was about order and purpose, not material building blocks. Professor Burdett, I'm ready to start reading the Bible. Why does all this matter? Because it completely changes how we should approach Genesis. If the original audience thought of creation in terms of function and not in material terms, then Genesis may not be trying to answer our modern scientific questions, because it's revealing the one true God is the one who gives order and purpose and meaning to the world. Professor Burdett, the whole reason I took this class was to watch you give a total smackdown to the Big Bang and evolution enthusiasts. Well, sorry to disappoint, young sophomore me. You can still drop the class by Friday. And look, I'm not saying there's not a place for those conversations, but the book of Genesis and its original ancient readers were asking very different questions. They could give two hoots about any of that because they would have no idea what you're talking about. They're more interested in questions like, who gives the world its function? Who gives the world its order? And the answer in Genesis is crystal clear. It's Yahweh, the God of Israel. Now that'll preach. So the next time you read Genesis 1, don't just picture God making stuff. Instead, picture God assigning purpose and function to everything. The sun, the moon, the land, the sea, humanity itself. Because to the ancients, Israel included, that's what creation really meant. If you found this eye-opening, I invite you to like this video, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's always been curious about the Bible and science. Thanks for watching.